Hey guys, what's going on? This is Josh from Spotted Euros. Behind me we have the 2009 Volkswagen Touareg Tdi. And in this video we're going to go over everything that's wrong with this Touareg. So stay tuned. Okay, for those who are new, Spotted Euros, we're a used car dealership. We buy and sell cars, mostly Volkswagens. Check out some of our other videos. Currently we have some cool cars. We've got an old Mark IV GTI that's causing us some problems, but check out some of our other videos. Now on to this Touareg. The first thing we got to do, let's take a look around and show you the outside of this. Okay, so as you can see, this thing's actually in pretty good shape. We actually checked out this car before we even bought it. A couple videos back, there were 4 of these Touaregs at the auction, and we actually picked this one, being the one in the best condition. So as you can see, walking around the car, it's actually in pretty good shape. Now it even looks a little bit better now because I couldn't help myself. I cleaned it up just a little bit from when we got it. This back window had a bunch of stickers all over it. I'll throw in a clip of that if I've got it. And then the headlights were super hazy. So I was able to clean these up, clean up the back, and then I gave it a wash. Now recently it's gotten a little dirty. But for the most part, this is how it is. That's pretty much all I've done. I cleaned it up a little. The main reason was I had a family reunion this last weekend, and I wanted to take this Touareg. We drove about 800 miles, and it did great. I love this thing, and I figured it would be better to drive this a good distance before I do one of these videos, just so we know for sure what's wrong with this car, if anything comes up after some mileage. So on the outside, everything is in pretty good shape. There's a couple of scuffs here in the front. This piece must have just hit just perfectly to knock off the toe cover here, which is kind of too bad. And there's a scuff here and then some scrapes there. Now originally I was pretty against these wheels, but actually with some time and after I cleaned it up, they really don't look too bad. I'm always a fan of OEM wheels, but they don't look too bad. My major complaint is the finish is kind of worn off, so you know, they're gonna get the brake dust and everything else. But I think I've got a solution that will make these look a little more OEM regarding the center cap. I've got some center caps, so hopefully we can throw in some Volkswagen center caps, and that will make it look maybe a little bit more OEM. So other problems on the outside, if you didn't notice already, there is a huge crack in the windshield, spanning from the top to the bottom, and this windshield actually had a bunch of stickers on it. I cleared that off as well, but anyway, the windshield needs to be replaced. So the hood, probably the biggest damage, at least on the outside, is this hood here. You can see the paint is faded here, which is really too bad. I'm sure real detail guys could come in here and maybe make this a lot better, but you have quite a bit of fading, and we'll see. I might try to address that. So really the main thing as far as stuff we're gonna fix, the windshield, and then I already cleaned up all the windows and got all the stickers off. I do need to clean these off. 2 stickers there. I just wanted to be a little bit more careful since it was on the paint. So there's the outside. Let's take a look at the inside. As you can see, the inside, I would say the inside is in really good shape. The seats look good. The tan seats, the black and the tan is always a good combo. The wood grain makes it a little dated, but honestly I don't mind it. I think it still looks good. This silver kind of outline with the wood, and this dash, although it looks black, it's actually a very dark brown, so that's kind of cool. And we do have the rubber mats. The inside of this Touareg definitely looks good. Now a couple of things. Once again, we'll start with the positive and then we'll go to the negative. So the positive is definitely the tan seats and the condition of the seats. Nothing's torn, nothing is damaged really. The other positive is going to be the tech, I guess you would say, in this Touareg. So it's actually not as common as you would think. Most of these Touaregs, so this is the 2nd generation Touareg. So a lot of these 2nd generation Touaregs actually still have the very simple head unit, and then also the very simple dash display, which definitely was a selling point or something we noticed when we were looking at these cars. This, when looking and researching these Touaregs, this was definitely something. If I was going to replace our tow rig, I definitely wanted these updated units. Otherwise this Touareg is going to be pretty much the same. This does make a big difference. You can pull up tire pressure, fuel economy, a bunch of different stuff right here on the screen, and I might as well just show you that. So as you can see here, it looks really good. The colors actually are a lot more vivid than our Touareg, so everything kind of feels a lot newer, a lot nicer, especially the center screen. The other screen that a lot of these Touaregs has is just like a red, very basic screen. It's just black background with red letters. So like I said, it really looks pretty basic. So this makes the whole Touareg, in my opinion, feel a lot nicer and a lot newer. Even though it's a 2009, it's got the tech of something a little bit newer. So that makes a big difference, and that's definitely a positive for me. There is a sunroof. All these Touaregs come with sunroof. I guess you could say that was a positive as well. What else? Oh, something that is new to the Touareg 2, or basically an update on this, is the plastics. The plastics in these Touaregs no longer has the soft touch material. This doesn't have any of that, so all of these buttons look brand new. Also, none of the steering wheel buttons or anything are worn off. I really think this car was taken care of. So let's get in the back seat. Okay, so I got in the back seat, but I forgot the child lock is on. So, and I left the driver's side door open. Okay, well, not every not every video goes according to plan. We just have to roll with it. There's plenty of room in the back of these Touaregs, but as you can see, my head is touching the ceiling. Well, it's not really touching the ceiling, it's touching the headliner. So that's definitely a negative in this Touareg, is the headliner has come off. It's pretty common in here. Our Touareg's the same thing, but it really affects the person who's sitting back here. Mostly, anyway, this is definitely something that needs to get fixed. But other than that, back seat, everything works. You got your AC, and you even have a 12 volt back here. But everything looks good. Once again, the plastics aren't all scraped up. And everything looks good here in the back. But while I'm here, let's also go over another problem. As you can see, and I'm not sure if you can see on the outside, but tape's holding up this window. This window here, as you can see or hear, the regulator's bad. So the regulator's bad on this back passenger window and the front passenger window. Not sure why both of the passenger windows have gone bad, but they have. So that's something that's definitely a negative, and it's something that needs to get fixed. And the last thing that needs to get addressed is the same thing that I just raved, I just went on and on about, is the same thing that needs to get fixed in this car. The head unit. This head unit doesn't work. These head units are extremely expensive, so I went back and forth on exactly what to do with this as far as fixing it. Being that this is definitely a selling point of this car, what's the point if it doesn't work? So there's a couple of options. One option is to just get or just replace it with a simpler head unit. There's actually one locally that I could have bought for like 35 bucks, and that obviously would have been pretty cheap, and I think everything would have lined up pretty easily. You just plug it in and slide it in. So that's one option. Second option is to get a Chinese knockoff screen. They make some of these that actually look pretty much identical to this. Now they're not, I wouldn't say necessarily cheap, but 300 bucks or so, maybe 350. And they actually will look similar to this, but the system itself is going to be different. The main reason I didn't want to do the Chinese or the simpler head unit is because of the functionality. I didn't want to lose the functionality in the steering wheel controls, and I also didn't want to lose the functionality in the center screen. And also, this does have a backup camera, a factory backup camera. Long story short, I ended up finding an OEM replacement. So that's the third option. The third option is just getting another one that's exactly the same. Problem is, most of the ones that are on eBay are anywhere from 800 bucks to 1600 bucks. Now, I was able to find one, and I think the reason I was able to find it was because it was labeled something weird. It wasn't quite labeled correct. I don't even think it had Touareg in the title. So I kind of found it through clicking through a couple of other links, but I found one in Australia for only 450 bucks that should, cross our fingers, it should be able to just plug in and slide in. So hopefully that works. Now let's take it for a drive. Now, what I definitely like is the power that this has, and being having a turbo diesel is super fun. Being in a Touareg, which is, you know, kind of a big SUV or a good size SUV, but having the power to actually move around is always a ton of fun. Now our Touareg definitely has the power to move around. This being turbocharged, I think it may be a little faster, or at least it feels faster because of when the turbo comes in. So let's I'm gonna turn around here, and I'll try and show you how quick this thing is. Pretty quick for a 6,000 pound SUV. This thing can definitely get out of its own way. The other thing that's fun about driving this is just listening to it. I'm not sure if I'll be able to pick this up on the camera. But being able to hear that turbo diesel going is definitely fun. This thing drives great, so it's fun to get into the power. It's fun to hear this, but everything else about this, you would never guess that it has 168,000 miles on it. It drives really smooth. The suspension feels good. The difference between this and our Touareg is our Touareg has the air suspension. You can definitely feel a difference. It's definitely a little bouncier, but overall this is definitely still a smooth ride. Now also a huge positive to this, there aren't any noises. The suspension feels great, but it also sounds great, or it doesn't sound. Anyway, there aren't any control arms squeaking. There's nothing. It is as quiet as it needs to be. What else? There also, I mean, mechanically this thing is set. When we got this, and even now, there aren't any lights on the dash. No check engine light, no airbag light, none of it. ABS. I mean, I haven't even hooked up a scanner to this just because there aren't any faults, or there aren't any lights on the dash. Yeah, it's plenty quick. Now, we're going to hook up the trailer to this. We're going to do some towing battles or do some drag races. I'm gonna do plenty of videos comparing this to our V8, and based off of the performance, we might be seeing this TDI stick around. We'll just have to see. Anyway, let me know if you guys have any questions. I love driving this thing around. I think I've put 1,000 miles on it already. Hasn't skipped a beat. So we're gonna make plenty of videos on this. Subscribe so you don't miss any of them. And like this video if you do. And thanks guys. Thanks for watching.